Yes.
Thank you, my lord. And just back to the high knights, isn't it true that one of your functions during these proceedings were to, at the end of the high night, as a victory, blew the horn?
I blew the shofar, the ram's horn, yes, but I can't recall blowing it afterwards, more before.
Was it before?
Before and during, yes. I was told to blow it.
Oh, by whom? Yeah.
Yes.
Before? When before?
Before we would start, put the music on, and everyone would be sitting and praying by themselves and waiting for something to happen at that point.
Oh,
but
at
not
the
on
social
every
part
occasion.
at the social part of the event.
No, after the people became seriously waiting. You know, say for instance, we had to be there by 7 o'clock.
Yes.
And Ria said she expected that things might go wrong by 8 o'clock. Then by 7:30 she might say, do I want to blow the shofar? But it didn't happen a lot.
Now, why should you blow the horn? If that, it seems to me, is like calling something to happen.
No,
I don't understand. Maybe you can explain.
there are as she explained to me, for instance, if you want to declare something, you blow 3 times. For instance, you want to declare that Jesus Christ is Lord and you want it to be heard everywhere in the spiritual realm, she said, then you blow 3 times and then you say, I declare, and then you declare whatever you want to declare, God's glory, whatever be the case, God's protection over Cecilia, whatever might be the case. I mostly had to blow it 3 times.
To declare.
Yeah, I was also asked in George Nell's church once, he asked me to blow it 21 times.
And soon after you've blown the horn, things will happen.
No, I can't connect that to that at all. I can't remember ever that now I blew the horn and then something happened. Then I would have been scared to blow it, you know. I mean, it wasn't linked to my blowing the shofar. I was proud that I could actually manage to blow it because it's difficult, and I had a function, so I was proud of it.
Now, I'm going to take you to the murder of the mayor in November 2050.
Yes, sir.
You testified yesterday that you and accused number 1 and accused number 3 at times went to the residence of the mayors at probably 3 times. Is that correct?
No, I said that Zack and I went there 2 or 3 times, and that accused number 3 was there once in the car when we picked her up from school.
Were you present when they went to the business address at Color Magic? Zack?
I'm not aware of that.
Not
No.
aware. Where they met with Mr. Mayor?
No.
How did you become involved then?
Involved in what, sir?
In meeting the mayor? The long story you referred to yesterday. I want you to give me the long story.
Okay, the mayor. John told us about the mayor. These people who, according to him, he worked for them for 20 years or something, and they were very rich people, and Zack had serious financial problems, so we were discussing the possibility of robbing them.
At that stage, Zack had financial problems.
Oh yes.
Why?
Well, I'm not into all of his, you know, but as far as I could understand, and I sometimes witnessed him trading as well, he made a few boo-boos with his trading. I once saw him make a mistake and throw down his handset, throw it down and walk out, and when he came back he saw that he lost more money because he got angry and threw it down, and he didn't stop the trading, and when he came back he even lost more money. So yes, he made a few mistakes.
So the forex trading business wasn't doing well, is that what you said?
Well, at stages I know he brought in like 80,000 rand a month. Michaela once told me that he brought home 80,000 rand a month, but that was when he was still a financial advisor. So he seemed to be always bringing in money again. So But he said that he overextended himself, I think is the word. So he needed more money. And
So that was the reason for the visit to the mayor being
yes, and the fact that there were millions and all of us could score with a few million now, that would also have been nice.
So that was the carrot, the millions.
Yes.
Okay, now how did you approach them?
I can't remember the first time, but I know Zack already had contact with the man, and then he said, if I go along with him, he would give me commission. Now, that was now the story, pretending we're not going to rob these people, that I would be someone going along to get commission. And then we figured out between
us. The story you're going to put to the mayors?
Yeah, this is now like the cover story.
Yes, okay. Now tell us
So
the cover
that's
story.
why I went along, so that that's I'm sort of assisting him. But then the whole idea was I'm a better talker than he is. Then I could convince them into the deal. But the whole idea is.
Sorry to interrupt you. According to the cover story, who were you? From which place?
Well, then eventually it was refined to the fact that I was Gloria. That's the name I chose, and I was from, and now I can't remember the name, the helping
Department
people.
Trade and Industry.
Yes,
that one.
Yeah, that one. I then remembered it, but it's difficult now. I was from there, and then I basically played on Mr. Meyer's greed and implied that I could score $1 million out of the deal, and he gets the 15 or whatever it is he applies for. That people do shady deals like that. So I could arrange for him to get a grant to finish his project because he said he wanted the extra 4 million. He has 46, he wants 50 before he starts the project.
And the project referred to the water park in KZN.
And
Scottsboro area.
KZN. Sorry, for a moment I had to think that's Natal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
okay. So he was really falling for it, according to me. But he was the type of person that would let us know to be there, and then we got there and he wasn't there. That type of person. But in the meantime, we were planning on how to then hopefully have just him and his wife there, and then we would rob them.
Yes. Now, pretending to be Gloria from DTI, is that DTI in Pretoria?
I can't remember what I said from where I was. I'm sure it's wherever they are. I know I Googled it and I used the right words in the right place.
You also printed DTI documentation to show him?
Zack did print for me, yes, I think.
From the website of DTI?
I'm sure it looked legal.
With the
I can't remember what it looked like, but it looked real. He fell for it, put it that way. The whole pose of that looked real.
And how did he take to the fact that you wanted, as a DTI official, want a commission of R1 million? As like a kickback?
He was totally for it. That's why I say it wasn't said in so many words. It was hinted between us, and he was the type of person that would want to make the deal. That was how it came over.
And those documents were placed in an envelope, is that correct?
I can't remember if I ever even held them. I can't even remember if I ever held the document. I remember sitting in their lounge and being scared of touching anything because my fingerprints must not anything. So I don't think I ever held anything that could have my fingerprints on. I can't remember if I ever held documents, but I know he believed it, and yes.
But you took it along. That you can remember. The envelope.
I don't remember taking an envelope. You mean on the night that we murdered?
Yeah, or prior to that?
No, I didn't take anything like an envelope on the night that we had to murder them.
Or prior to that? Did you give him the documentation?
The ones when we visited with him before the time that we killed him, he rolled open plans and showed us stuff of the water world. I don't remember handling any documents myself, no.
But the documents printed by accused number 1 from the website, what did you do with those?
I don't remember.
Oh.
It wasn't important to me. It wasn't my problem. It wasn't what I had to worry about.
Now, Were you upset on the 26th when you went there together with accused number 3 and for the appointment, and he wasn't there, Mr. Meyer?
The day that we went and Marcel was in the car with us.
Yes.
I can't remember if I was upset. I was annoyed with the guy in general because he was never there when we had to go there.
Now, what would you have done on that day? There was this meeting. Marcel was with you and accused number 1. What would have happened?
At that point, that was at negotiation stage of him saying, okay, he's going to sign the documents for the deal, for the whatever we were negotiating with him. It wasn't at a stage where we would be able to kill him yet. We were still in the beginning phase.
So that would also have been a big fraud, because you gave out to him that you are able to raise 16 million or whatever the amount was.
Yeah, I can't remember how much. He just wanted 4. I don't remember how much I offered.
4 million.
Yeah.
And another million for you. So it's 5.
I don't remember the amount that we spoke about, but it would be something like that, yes.
And the million you were demanding, would you share that with accused number 2?
No, we were never going to do that deal because I wasn't really from that place, remember? That was just to get him
the
into
pretext to get him.
negotiations, yes,
Oh,
and
I
get to
follow.
know him and the place and check it
follow.
out for the robbery.
So accused number 3 would have sat in if Mr. Meyer was there during the negotiations?
No, she would have been left in the car.
Then one of the Meyer's sons told you to come back the next day. Is that correct? The day of the murder. The Friday the 27th of
I don't remember, was it the 2 days or the day before, whatever, but the last, once the
26
mother
or
was at the
27?
gate, some of the times the mother was at the gate. I think the first time she was there, once the son was there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the mother also didn't open the gate to you?
Once she didn't open the gate, once she did. I think she was the one opening the gate on the day that we actually went in and sat inside.
On the 27th?
I don't know the dates. We did not the day we killed them.
Oh, another
Before,
day. Another
yeah.
one. And how many times were you in the house?
I remember being inside the house once and then again when the robbery and murder
So it's
took
2
place.
times?
Yes.
One prior and one at the time of the murder. Now, as far as you can recall, Mrs. May opened the gate on the night of the murder.
Let me think. We called at the gate. I don't think anybody came down to the gate like before. I think the gate just opened. And then,
Did you call on the cell phone or did you press the intercom?
no, there's the intercom.
You pressed the intercom.
Yeah, there's the intercom and then you drive up. And then, I can't remember, I remember seeing Mr. Meyer when the door was open and he sort of greeted us looking upset. And that's why the whole idea came for later saying they were having a fight, because he didn't look impressed very much that night. But I can't remember if I saw her first or him first, I don't know.
And whoever, they invited you into the lounge
That's correct.
and you all sat down around the table, coffee table.
That's correct.
And what happened? When was the sign to now attack these people?
Well, when all the small talk dried up, there was no waiting any longer. So, but there was a concern, you see, because at that point it was just the 2 of them there. But we were concerned that no one should arrive while we are there, because that would then, they would basically catch us out. So I made a remark to Mr. Meyer about the house not smelling like anything, because the previous time we were there, the house smelled very nice of food being prepared. And then he said that no, tonight, it was a Friday night, right?
That's right.
Because I remember him saying, no, tonight they are getting takeaways. His son just left and he went to buy them takeaways. He'll be back soon.
Was that the
Yes.
sign to act?
No,
Immediately?
then for a moment, no. Then it was difficult to decide. So between Zack and I, we were looking at each other and keeping up small talk. It's like, now, are they going to come back or they're not going to come back? And in the end, I don't remember how we signaled to each other, but then I took out the revolver and I said, okay, this is actually not going to be working for me. What I want is your money, lie down on the floor. And then the two of us were standing and they were on the floor, and that's when it all happened.
Were they cooperative?
Yes and no. They did go and lie down on the floor. They weren't physically trying to get away or anything, but they were talking a lot.
To whom?
To Zack, who kept on telling them to keep quiet. I put sticky tape on their mouths, but the man's sticky tape kept on falling off, and he would say something again. So in the end, Zack went berserk and he killed them.
You put the sticky tape on the mouth of only the man. Also the woman.
I put on both of them
On
mouths.
both. Was that after they'd been tied with the cable tie?
First cable ties, then
First
you
cable
put the
tie.
sticky tape.
Who did the cable tie?
I did,
You.
yes.
What happened to the firearm?
I put it in my pocket because Zack was standing with his big knife there, ready for them.
Which knife? What kind of knife was that? Are you able to identify it?
I don't think I saw it beforehand, as in previously, this is my grand knife or something that I recognized it, but it was like a big knife like this.
A jungle knife.
Would be about 30 centimeters.
That's a good piece. It's a fixed blade.
I never saw it close up. He took the knife out and he stabbed them. And I don't even know afterwards what he did with the knife, if he threw it away. It was not lying around. I collected everything that was lying around and cleaned the scene.
While on the topic of the knives, what did you do with the knife you killed Michaela with?
That and the one that I killed Mr. Ben Dixon with, I made sure that I cleaned it properly in case it is found, washed it with chicken and everything, and then I threw it in the veld
Where?
in Krugersdorp. And the area where I threw the one knife was built over not long after that, so I don't think it would ever have been found.
It was two separate knives. am I correct?
Every time I would go to a shop and buy a cheap 35 Rand, 45 Rand knife that you press the button and then the blade,
A flick knife.
yes, the blade comes out, more or less a blade of that length and the
Handle.
handle that length, so all together like that, easy for me for my hand to hand.
That's about what, 15 centimeters.
Now, okay, we're back to the mayor's residence. You did the cable tying on the hands as well as the feet?
Yes, hands behind the back and the feet so that they can't kick or get up.
And they were still lying with on their stomach.
Yes.
And when the stabbing started,
I was standing there in shock looking at him, yelling at them and stabbing them.
but they were still lying face down.
Yes.
Did he go berserk?
Yes. He scared me.
Would you regard that? He stabbed them many times. That's your evidence. What made him to stop?
I don't think anything made him to stop. He stopped out of his own after he was like, decided maybe they did and now we must get away. But in the meantime, I wanted to look for the money. So he was still basically running around like a headless chicken and going into a room and then coming back to them and making sure they did. And I went up the stairs and I was convinced there must be something upstairs. So I went looking for the safe.
Or the safe? Did you have a key?
He had a pouch on his belt, Mr. Meyer, and I found a key inside of that.
A key what looks to be like a safe key.
A long
one.
key like that with a roundish oval shape at the bottom looks like a safe key, yes.
But you couldn't manage to get any safe there.
No, so eventually when Zack said he's leaving with or without me, I made sure that the key is clean and I left it there on the couch.
Did you take it out of the pouch and then left it on the couch?
When I finished walking around with it looking for the safe, I made sure that it's clean and I just dropped it there on the couch, yes.
Did you put on gloves or not?
I was wearing gloves the whole time.
Not when you arrived there, I assume.
No.
When did you put the gloves on?
When I took out the gun,
So you
They were
first
in
put
my
on the
pocket.
gloves and then took out the gun.
no, took out the gun, and when they were lying down, I put on the gloves.
And Zack? Did you also put on gloves?
I'm not sure. I can't remember ever seeing his hands. One would assume he did, but he was supposed to. But if he ever did, I don't know. I just collected and ran.
There was also a wallet there.
The wallet was while I was looking for the safe when we couldn't find it. I can't remember if that was before or after I looked for the safe. I went outside to the bakkie. I think that was after I couldn't find the safe because we were looking for a remote to get outside the gate. In a house like that, you didn't want to press the wrong buttons and maybe set off an alarm, which could be a panic button that's linked to the intercom or anything. So I found the wallet in the door of, I think it was the right-hand door, I'm not sure, but I felt for keys and anything in the bakkie. It was quite clean, and there was just the wallet in the door, and I took that wallet out, and I took it inside.
And that was the wallet of Mr. Meyer.
That's correct.
And did you get the remote?
No, that's why we had the problem of getting out. Pressing the button, thank God, the right button, and I had to stand at the gate. That was quite an issue. I was really sweated, wet by the time that we got out there because it's a very steep driveway, and I had to go down and then be there at the gate, and then you can't yell at each other because they are neighbors. And then the gate wouldn't open, and then I had to go back and tell him the gate didn't open, and then press the button again, and then I had to run down again and stand, and eventually I got to stand in front of the eye thingy so that the gate won't close, and he had to drive the car down and stop outside the gate so that I could get in, and we left.
Where did you get that remote?
He pressed the button there where the intercom thing
Oh,
is.
so you pressed that intercom.
Mm.
So it didn't work the first time. You had to go up and say, press again.
Yeah, there were apparently more than one button.
I follow. And eventually it worked.
Yes.
And which route did you take from there?
I don't have
Up or
a
down?
I can't even remember. I know we drove around in the neighborhood first. I can't even remember which side we went. It was dark and we were panicky, and I had a great sense of failure and fear.
Did you ask him why did he stab the deceased? Because that was not part of the plan.
I'm sure I did, but I can't remember that he ever gave me a proper answer to that.
And did you then dispose of the wallet and the cards whilst driving?
First, I had the cable ties and everything in the bag that I took them along. So I said we had to get out of this neighborhood and further away, and then I remember the route we took from there. I don't remember where we went first, that part in the neighborhood, but then he went back to the route that we normally drove, down the one that goes
Past the high school.
past Monument Primary.
Yeah, on the top there's a high school.
We went down that, yeah, it's past Monument Primary, and a little bit further you go down like that, and then end up getting to the garage, where President's lying there in the garage is there. So I think that part, I don't know if it's Monument already, but we went, the path that I would normally take if I drove a road straight home from there would be that path. He took that one. And As far as he drove, when there were not cars behind us, I would throw out cable ties and rub off the wallet and make sure there's nothing on the wallet itself, and his phone as well. We had Mr. Meyer's phone as well. Threw that out, took it apart as far as I remember, and I threw that out. And every now and then, like Hansie and Griekie, leaving a trail, not very smart. Yeah.
I don't understand. Why did you cut the cable ties when you left? You cable tied them to immobilize them.
I think partially it's always that thing of there might be some of your DNA on it or fingerprints or something, and then the whole idea was to leave them unharmed originally. So I don't know, but yeah, for me it's take everything you touched along and take it out.
Now, this was a vicious attack. I assume you were all full of blood.
No.
No.
No, I never, okay, what you make sure, because you can't always see blood on dark clothes, but, and I was wearing dark clothes, you make sure afterwards that you wash everything before you dispose of it, or you dispose it. I was very worried about Zack because of him doing the whole attack thing, and I was very worried about the car. And if I remember correctly, shortly after that, they took the car for forensic. So I think I went back maybe 4 times to my car before it was ever taken by the police, and went back and made sure with Andy one time, with Jik another time, that I cleaned the car on the inside. But I could never find any visible evidence of blood on my car on the inside. And he promised me that he didn't smear any blood there. But his clothes, when we got upstairs, I put in a bag, and I washed it and later went and threw it away.
Where?
Again, there are lots of cement bins in Krugersdorp you can drive, and then sometimes, I don't remember that one specifically because I did it with others as well, but there's sometimes like on a Thursday where they're removing bins. If you see they're removing bins and that's when you're driving, then you throw it in those bins that are going to be removed. At the top of the street, you throw it here in the bottom, then you know it's going to be removed today.
Now, let's move on back to Mrs. Watergan. I just want to clarify something there. You now send John to go and check the pin.
That's correct.
What was the arrangement? Should he phone you, tell you the pin is okay?
No,
Or
he came back and
he
said
came back.
it works.
So you
but
kept her alive for a long while then.
Yeah. But it didn't feel that long. That's why I think maybe you were right and he drove with the car, but I'm not sure. But it didn't feel that long.
Did you talk to her? Or
Yes,
did she
I
talk to you?
Did originally, but not after that.
Now, you yesterday also testified, and I'm going now even further back to Michaela's murder and the plan between you and accused number 1.
Yes.
The initial plan being that you would arrive there with a key to open the house, with a remote to gain entry into the complex, and then do the job while he's not at home.
That's correct.
But that didn't work out that way.
He was there when I arrived, on his way out. I was too early.
Yes. So you're meeting them.
I saw him, but we never spoke. He was on there were the garage doors. Look, the remote was for the garage doors and the gate.
Yes.
Okay, so I had to enter through the garage doors, and then there's a door that I had to open with a key. And he was, if you stand in front of the garage doors, to your left there was like a little garden, and there was the kitchen door, like a backyard in front.
Yeah.
Okay, and he was there. He was leaving through that door. And he showed to me, she's sleeping.
Thumbs up. She's
Yes.
sleeping.
And then he left, and I went in. I didn't see him again that day.
So he drove away with his vehicle.
I didn't see what he got into. He could have gotten into anything, but I'm assuming yes.
And And with which car did you arrive in?
I parked far outside the complex in my own car.
I-10?
I
Or
don't
the
think I
BMW?
drove the I-10 then already. What year are we talking about? I think I had a
2012,
yellow
2012.
Atos that time.
Atos, the yellow one.
I think so, yes.
The yellow Atos.
2012, I think I was still driving that, but I had my own car.
Yeah, I think you're correct. It's a yellow Atos. So you didn't enter the complex with your Atos?
No,
Why not? Cameras?
I don't think there were cameras because I still walked in. So, but it was just safer to park far away so that no one sees your car in the complex. I did visit them before with my car, so one wouldn't want people to say afterwards, "Oh, Marinda came to visit that day."
So you parked on the sideway?
Far, far from their complex. There are lots of complexes there at another complex.
At another complex?
Yes.
You had to walk far?
Yeah,
From
well,
the
it
one
felt far.
complex to another complex?
About 4 or 5 on, yes.
And then you, on foot, opened the gate?
Yes, but I didn't actually need to open with the remote because there were lots of workers arriving to come clean houses. So actually when I came on and lifted my remote, there were like 5 or 6 people going in with me.
So you just walked in?
Yes, I could have just walked in without a remote.
And then you open the garage door after accused number 1 has left, and you open the garage door with the remote, and you use the key to unlock the door between the garage and the house.
I had the key in my hand, but I remember the door being open.
It was open. And when you enter there, did you see the trailer door and the sliding door, the glass sliding door?
On the right, yes.
Were they open?
Yes, you already left them like that, slightly ajar, and something was standing skew. I can't remember if it was the glass or the, but I could see that's what he said he was going to do, make it look like someone entered there.
Oh, okay. Maybe we must have a look at the photos. If you don't mind, what will be just a moment? I just want to get hold of the photographs. For L, volume 5. No, I beg your pardon, my lord. Okay. It would be in volume 1 or 2, I assume. No, that's incorrect, my lord. It is volume 1, exhibit Q, R.
Exhibit?
I'll be with you now. I don't want to get there are 2 sets regarding the. There's one in volume 1. Go to volume 1. Exhibit S. Oh, that is the names. Five A's. Yes, thank you. Beg your pardon, my lord. 5 A's, volume 5.
Five A's as in apple,
Yes.
but it starts with L. So it's at the back again, sir. Sorry.
there. Wait, maybe go to volume 1, exhibit N.
She has it, sir.
The photograph you are looking now at, is that the sliding door?
Yes, the sliding door is in the middle of the photo.
Is that the way that you found it when you entered the house?
I can't remember, it must be, but it was open, as I said, but it doesn't look skew like I think it must look, so.
Skew meaning, in what sense skew?
I know I registered it looked like there was forced entry. I can't remember how. It's very long ago. I can't remember if I saw it standing skew in my mind. I remember something like that, or if maybe the door was broken, or the lock, or the anything, but I know it looked like forced entry. I was satisfied that he made it look like forced entry. I don't know.
Could you turn to the third page?
Well, yes, there you can see somebody forced it open, the paint is off. Maybe that's what I saw. I didn't remember that. I just know I was satisfied that it looked like forced entry.
But did you actually go to the door and have a look at it?
I went closer to it, yes, but I don't think I inspected it.
Yeah.
I just realized, yes, it's open and it looks like it.
And you just passed there, going directly to the main bedroom.
I went directly to Michaela's bedroom, yes.
And when you entered, was she lying on her back?
She was
asleep?
sleeping on her side,
On her side.
yes.
Did you hit her with something?
Yes, I had this stupid notion because of how it worked with rage, that you must hit someone over the head first to make sure that they're not going to resist. So, although she was looking like she was sleeping, I hit her over the head first to make sure she doesn't wake up. But it didn't work that way because her head was on the pillow, so her head bounced. So, I hit a few times without her reacting at all, and then I thought, okay, you know, that should be it. But then she opened her eyes, and she was hazed, dazed,
Yes.
like she looked like she was drunk, you know, like that type of look on her face. So then I realized that she's not going to resist terribly, or I thought so, I don't know, I didn't think conscious thought like that. Then I started stabbing her, but she turned from the sideways, she turned to look at me, and then I started stabbing her.
So when she looked at you, she was lying on her back.
When she turned, yes, when I stabbed her, she was on her back, but she was lying on her left side, and then when I hit her on her head, she turned towards me. So
And look, what did you hit her on the head?
with a normal hammer,
A hammer.
yes, a small hammer,
A small one? How big was the head of the hammer? The head?
the normal size average hammer,
So 30 centimeters.
yeah.
What kind of hammer?
One that you buy at a hardware store.
Can you describe the head of the hammer?
It was like black iron and a wood handle.
With a round, one of the
One side is round and one side is flat, yeah.
Which side did you hit her?
I don't have a clue.
And then you started stabbing her. You
Yes.
also went berserk then.
I did. Except I didn't scream, I didn't make a sound.
And she initially also tried to defend.
She did sort of just do that a few times, and then she didn't.
Or raising both hands like in a defensive manner.
Yes.
And what made you to stop stabbing?
When she stopped breathing.
And moving, I assume.
No, she stopped moving, then she was still breathing, but I stopped when she
So
was
you
stopped.
carried on until no more breathing.
Yes.
And then what did you do? You tucked her in.
You know,
Before
there's a
that.
part that I left out.
Hmm.
Before when I started stabbing her and she opened her eyes, she recognized me.
Yes?
And then I told her, Michaela, pray, I'm going to kill you.
Wow.
And she started praying. And she was praying when I killed her, and when she stopped praying, after that she blew out her breath.
And then you tucked it in.
Yes, she was lying on a warm blanket. I remember thinking the blanket must stay on, then the body stays warm, then you don't know what time she was killed, and let it look more decent, and then I left.
And you put the cushion on the head to cover the head.
Now, while I fixed the blanket, one of the pillows fell on her head. I saw it was like, but it wasn't totally over her head. It just sort of fell from its position.
It was not a deliberate move as the tucking in was. The pillow.
I didn't tuck her in. I was just like ordering the place.
Were you full of blood at that stage? Because there was a lot of blood spatter on the walls.
That is very weird, sir, because one hears about that afterwards, but I never remember seeing blood anywhere, even when I killed Reg and with Michaela. I just remember seeing the body and doing the killing and then making sure myself in the scene. I don't remember being blood on the walls or anything like that. I honestly don't remember that. It's like...
But were there blood on your clothes?
I'm sure there could have been spatters, but none visible. I changed clothes. I had a plastic bag, and I changed clothes in the plastic bag, put the ones that I had on in the plastic bag. I was especially worried because of the cats who recognized me and kept on rubbing against me. I had cat hairs all over me. That was a great concern for me. And
so you took along a fresh pair of clothes to,
yes.
after the killing, put on?
Yes. Yes. I put on fresh clothes, pants and a top, and a different pair of shoes, and I had all of that in a bag, and then I put all the ones I had on in the bag, and then I remembered I have to make it look like it was a robbery or something, so I took Michaela's wedding rings off her finger. I took her phone, and she had a pink tablet thingy, and I hit it with a hammer first to break it, to make sure that it doesn't have any signal anymore before I left the house.
The same hammer you hit her?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And then I walked outside, like I finished cleaning the house, and I left. And I went to my car and I drove, and it was hectic traffic. And as far as I drove, the moment that I was around the corner, I again threw stuff out of the window when I was far enough from her house. By the time that I got to my house, I didn't have any evidence left on me. But I went to shower and put on new clothes, and that was it.
Did Zack call you at any stage?
No, it was a day that I wasn't working. I went to Cecilia's house and arrived there like I would have normally. And I remember we were watching DVDs. By the time that I almost think the first person to let us know was Dries that arrived, or at some stage I know Zack called us in the afternoon, but no. I never spoke to him that morning again. We only heard about it much later that day, which made it safe for me.
From who?
I'm not sure who let us know first.
But it wasn't Zack who called Cecilia or you to tell you, listen, as part of this plan, my wife.
No, Zack and I never had a plan for him to specifically call me or not call me. But I remember Dries walking in and the shock on his face, having to tell us about Michaela that died. I can't remember if he was the first person. And I know Zack did phone us that night while he was still at the house. I don't think he called me specifically. I think he called Cecilia, I'm not sure, and said, do we know about her? And he's still there at the scene and whatever. So obviously, because we collaborated, we didn't want to make it look like we were 10 times on the phone with each other that day. He arrived and he found her dead as agreed. So we didn't have
but
anything
you were
to
a
say.
close knitted friends group, and the first thing that friends would do is call the other friend, telling them, listen, have you heard the terrible news? Michaela has been murdered in a robbery.
Well, I can't remember who let us know, like I said. I just remember I saw the shock on Dries' face when he had to tell us, do you know about it?
Now, ma'am, what bothers me is the matter of fact way you are describing all these killings. It's as if you are relating the tea party with no emotion whatsoever.
Do you want to know how I feel about it, sir?
Yes.
Horrible. But for me to sit here in public on camera and make a scene would not be how I perceive as the correct behavior. I have had 3 years almost in jail and the last 6 months sentenced to work in my mind through what I did and how I did it and why I did it and what am I going to do with my life now, and also how it affected the people around me in my family, in my work, and the victim's family. So yes, I can tell you a lot about that. I just didn't think that's appropriate here. For me to keep unemotional, because I'm a very emotional person, is it better to relate it with calmness so that I will not get emotional and
Yes.
make a spectacle of myself?
I'm going to put it to you that you were called by accused number 2 as a witness to come and testify in this court, to exonerate her of all involvement with any of these killings.
That's wrong, sir.
Because you knew that your life is in a mess. You will never be released from jail. So you were prepared to take the fall for accused number 2 as well as accused number 3. I can understand accused number 3 being your daughter, but I can't understand you taking the fall for accused number 2 and to take all the blame for what happened and exonerating her in the process of being not aware of anything, any crime being committed by this group.
That's not how it is, sir.
Thank you, my Lord. I have no further questions.
Just on that, how is it?
Sir, I got to a point before I was sentenced where I got a verse from God saying, confess and you will be forgiven. The Afrikaans is, God is getrou en regverdig om jou te vergewe, maar dit sê eers confess en God is getrou en regverdig om jou te vergewe. Basically means that you have to confess first and then God will forgive you. And I kept on getting that verse again, so in the end I felt that God wants me to confess and get this off, because I could pretend and sit here through a whole trial and pretend I never did any of these and hope to get free from it. But that's not what God wants me to do. My life has to change here. So I went through a whole process and then eventually had peace about it, that that's what God really wants me to do, to start my life over. What I have left of it, I'm 52 years old, I can still mean something to people in jail, even if I have to stay there for the rest of my life, but then it would have to be with God. So that's why I confessed. And I confess and speak the truth. And I would really like to apologize as well if that's allowed. I've never had a chance. The day that I was sentenced, I was for the first time really faced the pain and the anger of the victims' families. And I didn't say anything on that day. I did turn around and I looked at them because I wanted to see them. And I have nightmares about that because I see the horror on their faces that I would never have wanted to cause anyone. So I wanted to apologize for the harm that I've caused them. I'm sure they would not be ready to forgive me yet. But I did want to apologize. I've seen now the 3 days that I come here as well, people's faces that you can see that it's really, they're still in pain. And felt like I should apologize, but I'm not allowed to speak to anyone. So I thought to say now, I really apologize. I know sorry doesn't do it, but I really am sorry for the pain and the hurt and the anguish and the anger and everything I caused them.
Obviously, I think this is an opportunity for you to apologize. So what do you want to say to the victims?
That I'm very sorry. That it was never my plan to cause harm to so many people. It was never my intention to cause harm to so many people.
No question, my lord.
Ma'am, are there any questions from what I'm put to you?
No, thank you. I have no more questions.
No questions, thank you, my lord.
This court is basically faced with different versions. And somebody between you, John, Rex LaRue, Cecilia, and accused number 1 is telling lies. Do you understand that?
I understand your predicament, sir.
You've also been considered that some of the things that appears in your plea agreement were not entirely correct,
Those sentence errors, yes.
and that you put the blame on the counsel, Mrs. Finendal.
With all respect, yes, sir.
At what stage, should I accept that what you're telling this court is the correct version? Because all of the witnesses who testified before me took the oath. Who should I believe? And who amongst the witnesses, according to you, is a bigger liar?
Are you asking me, sir?
Yes.
I've never thought to sit and think who's a bigger liar, sir. I would just say one would pray for you for wisdom to make the correct decision.
Would that be Solomonic wisdom? Wisdom coming from Solomon? Or which wisdom should I just?
From God.
What went wrong here? Because you profess that you're a Christian, reborn Christian. Roux, I think, professed that he was a Christian. Accused number 1 professed that he's a Christian. And accused number 2 also professed that he's a Christian. But the Christianity that I was raised in does not involve killing and murdering of people. And of course, I think, if you've gone through baptism, if you're already, saved by God, how does one explain, all these senseless murders, robberies that took place, where innocent people lost their lives, and the families are so devastated by the harm that was caused by I just don't understand. I think the God that I know, the God that you say you know, is just one God. What went wrong here?
Your Honor, it's very difficult to say what went psychologically in a person's mind when you did that. I don't think one always knows yourself. I just know that I now have peace, that I've done the right thing to confess, and that God has forgiven me, and from now on I have to go forward and help other people so that my life would mean something and not just harm. I am under treatment at the center, and I attend courses, and I'm sure before my sentence is up and I'm 77, when I can only become a medium, by then I would know why I did this.
And why would Lex in the room have a reason to tell us? Because if I'm saying the words correctly, I think he is telling lies when it comes to the role played, if any, played by accused number 2. Why would he lie about it?
Sir, I raised 2 children exactly the same, and LaRue turned out the one way and Marcel turned out the other way. And from a young age I've been aware of it, that maybe I spoiled him too much because he was the firstborn, but if he didn't get his way that he wanted, he would always have a way of getting around it, whether with manipulation or deception. So I've been aware of it and basically covering for him for years. And that's my mistake. I should not have. But one tends after if you're a single mother to overprotect and over-compromise for your children.
But he's confessed, I think, you said he's confessed. He's pleaded guilty to some of the charges. He testified about his role played by each member of the group. Why would he lie about that?
I do not know. As I said in the trial, I only have my ideas of him being vengeful, of getting back at all of us for not being for him what he wanted us to be.
But he didn't lie about you, did he? About your role?
Well, I understood he said a lot more about me, like that I abused him when he was a child and that, which I didn't. But my role, what that I said, that's what I did.
And I think he didn't lie about that.
No.
And if I understand your testimony quite correctly, he didn't lie about the role played by accused number 1.
About Zack's role. I don't recall exactly what he said, but if he said everything I said, then no, then he didn't lie about it.
Well, I think there's some there are some common factors, but if he didn't lie about your role, and didn't lie about Zack's role, why would he then lie about the role played by accused number 2? I don't understand that. And also the role played by accused number 3. Because I didn't get the impression, I think, that he had some vendetta against accused number 2.
I think he has, Your Honor. I think he definitely has. He has always had this thing that either me or C or anyone in his life that's close to him give more attention to Marcel than they give to him. Why does she get to do that? Why did you give me a hiding for this instance, but when she did the same thing, you took her pocket money or that type of thing? He's always wanted to blame other people and never himself. So for me, that's typically catching him with his hand in the cookie jar again, and he's like, it wasn't just me, all of them ate with me, all of them. That's how I see him, sir.
When did you know that you would become a witness in this matter?
In this trial.
Yes.
When I phoned Ms. van Veenendaal, I said to her I want to confess, and she came to see me the December, and then she explained to me that I could do the trial, and that's why we prepared so long. She said those are the options. You could we could do the trial, or you can make a plea like you want to, but they could maybe not accept it, then you still have to do the trial. So we went through 12 sessions of 4 hours each for that. At the point where we got to the end of it, I said, okay, now if they do accept my plea, do I go back? Can I testify to say, but this one did this or this one did that? And she said yes, but she would advise against it because she did not think it's wise.
And my question is, when
So
did you
that
know?
was the point. That was somewhere in between.
When did you know that you will be called as a witness to testify?
Called as a witness.
You'll be called as a witness to testify on behalf of accused number 2.
Wednesday, where are we now? Today, Wednesday last week, the counsel of Cecilia came to see me for a legal visit at the jail and asked me if I would be prepared to be a witness.
So It's only last week, Wednesday.
Yeah, it's like a week and a half ago.
And of course, I think that probably will explain why your version wasn't put to the witnesses, because they had testified long before you then became aware that you will testify for accused number 2.
Sorry, repeat that.
You know, I think I'm just saying that I think that's why I think, you know, if you only became aware last week and Wednesday, by that time all the witnesses had testified. But I think it's probably a debate that we will have later. You obviously could not put that version to the witnesses.
Correct. We only decided actually just before the adjournment for the 2 days.
Yes, last week would have been what date? Wednesday. Today's the I've lost track of time.
Oh, around about the 12th.
It would be probably 24, 25. Wednesday. 21st. 21st.
4 days.
Ms. Snell, any questions from
No, thank you.
Ms. Johnson?
None.
Robert?
Yes, my lord, I want just to elaborate on one aspect. You were only informed to come and give evidence last week. But is it correct that from the start, after negotiating the plea, you wanted to testify?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. No further questions.
Any questions arising from mine?
Nothing, my lord.
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir.
Any other witnesses?
Nothing else, my lord. That is the case for accused number 2. Where is the please?
Ms. Johnson?
I'm afraid that evidence may run over and then she still has to be cross-examined, and we're not sure of the date to which we are postponing the matter, and I feel it's being prejudicial to our case should she be kept for such a long period before or during
You're not available on Monday.
evidence. I'm not sure about my colleagues. I don't think anybody else is, but I know that I am not available from Tuesday.
Yes, I think I know that from Tuesday onwards, not going to be available for the next 6 weeks.
The other issue I have, my lord, is that I also have a witness that I need to call. And even if I do complete her evidence, I still have the witness to call, which I may not be able to complete, even if I do come.
So what are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that we then postpone the matter until such date, but we haven't arranged the date. But maybe if we can stand the matter down and see Judge in chambers, and then we can discuss.
Well, look, the court goes into recess for the next 2 weeks. And I've indicated earlier that I will then be going on long leave. When coming back, we're coming on the 12th. Coming back on the 13th of May. It appears to me then that we'll have to postpone this matter to the 13th. That's
My lord, is that in term? The
13th term, yes.
The starting or the third term?
And it will be somewhere in the middle of the
In the middle of the
second
second term?
term.
The second term?
Yes.
Middle of the second term. Of course, we just have to get clarity from our role planner as to that date as well, because we are not, it's not known whether judge will be on criminal.
And I will make, I will get in touch with
The
you. I've indicated to JP that the matter, we won't finalize that today. And I think he said to me that I should postpone it to a specific date. It appears to me, I think when we come back on the day, there's probably still going to be 2 witnesses.
Yes.
It will then be closing arguments. I don't know how long will closing arguments take.
Lord, we will need a week or 2 just to prepare it, perhaps.
If you can't prepare
But
it,
we can do it now.
You can't prepare it maybe whilst we
Yeah,
recess.
because we know more or less what number 3 will come and tell the court. So we can do a lot of work in the interim. But I think we must just maybe stand the matter down
Yes.
for me, just to confirm you. The date is now the 30th
Yes.
of May. And then maybe after lunch I can inform the court the views of the
Yes.
road planner on that. Maybe it will suit the role better if it's maybe the 20th or whatever. So I just want to confirm that
Okay, I think, but as long as it could probably be sometime in May.
as a court, after the 30th.
Yes.
As a court, because
And of course, I think it will probably take me, 2 weeks to not to prepare for judgment. It'll probably take me 2 weeks to read out my judgment. Will it be that long? I don't know.
Yes. Well, it was
Maybe just make sure that your diary for May is open.
as a court.
Well, it's obviously subject to what my finding would be, but if, so it might even take the entire, well, I don't know, I think it might take the entire term then, or begin the rest of the term for May.
We can discuss that after lunch.
So-
I just want to get clarity from the role, how the role is at that stage,
Yes.
and then we'll inform the court after lunch.
But of course, I think just indicate to them that this matter should be given priority.
Yes.
I think the accused wants to know what their fate is. And I think the family too wants to know. I think they want to have some clarity to carry on with their lives.
Indeed, Marlo.
So maybe-
I will impress that now.
And you could probably tell the road planner that I've spoken to the JP about this. I basically want him or her to accommodate.
Yes. I'll do that.
We'll take the lunch adjournment for now. But I think look at the three of you. I think consult with Mr. Roberts about the dates. We'll adjourn for lunch.